Evening, y'all. It's Sunday night and it's time for our capsule sermon. And today in Sunday school, I've been teaching through the book of Hebrews. And we got to talking about God's people as they exited Egypt, as they were led out of bondage in Egypt by Moses, and how they got to the wilderness. And we saw how those people went from slavery to pure freedom almost overnight. They walked behind, a pillar of fire at night and a cloud during the day. They saw all the wonders of God, yet at the first sign of hunger or thirst, of trouble, they wished that they were back in bondage. They said, it would have been better to stay in Egypt than it was to come out here. After all that they saw God do, they still questioned if He could fix what was ahead of them, if He could fix those problems ahead of them. And God got angry with them. And He said, you know what? Because of this, I've promised you a land flowing with milk and honey, the land of Canaan. But because of your unbelief, you're going to wander for 40 years until this entire generation is gone. None of you will ever see the promised land, will never step foot on it. And what I learned from that today in our studies, and as we talked about it in Sunday school, is that, guys, the bondage that we're in is the bondage to sin. And God led us out of that. It doesn't mean that we'll never sin again or that we may not slip into those old ways, but God has taken us from that. When those people wanted to leave and go back, God didn't allow them to go back into bondage. Just like if you're saved, He won't allow you to go back into bondage. You're His. Now, if you have unbelief or disbelief or you disobey like they did, you will receive discipline just like they did. They had to wander those 40 years until they were all gone, never getting to step into the promised land. Guys, what happens to us now is that if we have unbelief, if we doubt God, if we have disobedience to God, the discipline that we get is it costs us the blessings that we could have in the now. It cuts those blessings out for us. I want you to listen to what Hebrews chapter 12, verse 6 says. I'm going to read about half of verse 5 and 6. It says, "My son, do not despise the chastening of the Lord, nor be discouraged when you are rebuked by Him. For whom the Lord loves, He chastens, and scourges every son whom He receives." So guys, if you feel like you're in a time in your life where you feel like God's disciplining you, look back and see where you disobeyed, where you were unfaithful, where you were untrue to Him, and realize that He's doing it out of love. Just like if we have to discipline one of our children, we don't do it out of hate and anger. We do it out of love. And that's what the Father does for us. He disciplines us when we need it, when we're disobedient and when we're unbelieving. Guys, I love you. God bless you. And y'all keep praying.